Show me what it's like to be circling among the clouds. Because without you by my side, I would be stuck here on the ground. You're lighting up the way, I can see the road ahead of me. I won't be stumbling in the dark. Your eyes are shining like the stars. I was down until you saved me, until you set me free. My eyes were closed, now I see clear as day. And I just wanted to say that you can take me high. Feels like I can fly. You can take me high. I can see the sun staring at you when you make that smile. I'm moving closer to you now. I can't get close enough somehow. And I was down until you saved me, until you set me free. My eyes were closed, now I see clear as day. And I just wanted to say that you can take me high. Feels like I can fly. I don't need anybody, I don't need anybody else. No one will ever take me, no one will ever take me away from you. I promise I will hold on to you. I don't know what I'd do without you. Without you. You can take me high. Feels like I can fly. You can take me high. Feels like I can fly. You can take me high.
A couple hours from Japan, would you stay awake? I'm losing touch of who I am when you're far away. And I feel like I'm running in circles around you. And I know I've been acting strange for a while, but I want you close, ooh, ooh, closer than before. And no one knows, ooh, ooh, that I want you close. I'm not overthinking feelings, I just need you to know that I want you close. You close, ooh, ooh, closer than before. And no one knows, ooh, ooh, that I want you close. I'm not overthinking feelings, I just need you to know that I want you close, ooh, ooh, closer than before. just need you to know that I want you close. Ooh, ooh, closer than before. Closer than before. Closer than before.
I wanna be a weekend lover. Yeah, I'ma be the best damn lover you got. I wanna mess up your covers. You love, you love, you love. I don't wanna meet your mother. Never ever ask me how I've been. Remember why you have my number. You love, you love, you love. I'm the best thing that has ever happened to you. Here's your time to shine. Now show me what you can do. The way my hands feel on your body, the way we're dancing in the dark. With every move I make, you're falling. You love, you love, you love. The way my lips feel on your body, the way we're moving in the dark. With every breath we take, you're falling. You love, you love, you love. I ain't got no time for romance, but baby I don't want to lead you on. Not looking for something steady, not ready for that. I'm the best thing that has ever happened to you. Here's your time to shine. Now show me what you can do. Make a move. The way my hands feel on your body, the way we're dancing in the dark. With every move I make, you're falling. You love, you love, you love. The way my lips feel on your body, the way we're moving in the dark. With every breath we take, you're falling. You love, you love, you love. With every breath that we're taking, with every step you're falling in love. With every move that I'm making, you love, you love, you love. With every breath that we're taking, with every step you're falling in love. With every move that I'm making, you love, you love, you love. I'm the best thing that has ever happened to you. Here's your time to shine. Now show me what you can do. Make a move. The way my hands feel on your body, the way we're dancing in the dark. With every move I make, you're falling. You love, you love, you love. The way my lips feel on your body, the way we're moving in the dark. With every breath we take, you're falling. You love, you love. With every breath that we're taking, with every step you're falling in love. With every move that I'm making, you love, you love, you love. With every breath that we're taking, with every step you're falling in love. With every move that I'm making, you love, you love, you love.
Love is like a roller coaster, but I'm trying to hold on. I don't want it to stop. Even though we fight sometimes and it feels like a war zone, I still care about us. How do you move on when everything goes wrong? I'm trying to find a way to get you out my head. Don't know how to cope with being so broken. Girl, I can't forget about what we said. I just wanna love you a little bit more. Don't just walk away from me and close the door. Baby, pull me closer now before it's over. I just wanna love you a little bit more. Oh, I know that it's difficult dealing with emotions, but I want you to know that you'll always be on my mind. Even in the hard times, I care about you. How do you move on when everything goes wrong? I'm trying to find a way to get you out my head. Don't know how to cope with being so broken. Girl, I can't forget about what we said. I just wanna love you a little bit more. Don't just walk away from me and close the door. Baby, pull me closer now before it's over. I just wanna love you a little bit more. Oh, love you a little bit is wrong. I'm trying to find a way to get you out my head. Don't know how to cope with being so broken. Girl, I can't forget about what you said. I just wanna love you a little bit more. Don't just walk away from me and close the door. Baby, pull me closer now before it's over. I just wanna love you a little bit more. Oh, love you a little bit more. Just a little bit. Love you a little bit more. Love you a little bit more. Just a little bit. Love you a little bit more.
You wanna ride on my wave just because it's fun. You wanna be in my space, too close to the sun. Don't seem to care if it's safe. Well, that makes two of us. I'm so insane, and you like it. But you haven't seen anything yet. Now you're just beginning your trip to regrets. You might think you know me, but soon you forget. I'm too insane, and you know it. You got to learn to like me again and again, 'cause I will make you love me again and again. Just when you think you love me, you'll think again, 'cause I will make you hate me again and again. I'll say I'm fine when I'm not, just to mess you up. I won't be home when you want, and I won't pick up. You'll spend your time with your watch, counting down the clock. You'll go insane, and I like it. But you haven't seen all of me yet. Now I'm just beginning your work in progress. You might think you know me, but soon you forget. I'm too insane, and you know it. You got to learn to like me again and again, 'cause I will make you love me again and again. Just when you think you love me, you'll think again, 'cause I will make you hate me again and again. Again and again. Again and again. You wanna ride on my wave just because it's fun. You wanna be in my space, too close to the sun. Don't seem to care if it's safe. Well, that makes two of us. I'm so insane, and you like it. You got to learn to like me again and again, 'cause I will make you love me again and again. Just when you think you love me, you'll think again, 'cause I will make you hate me again and again.